It's time for Game Week 29, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host Mark Ryman to make some championship predictions. How are we getting on, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but I tend to get more excited about midweek games before them. I don't know what it is, just the kind of anticipation of there's some football on a Tuesday. That's exciting, right? Because you know you're at work all day and going. But then when your team inevitably loses, we're Luton fans, it happens all the time. You then are gutted that you've lost, and it's only Tuesday. So it's sort of like the highs to the lows of midweek football, right there. But yeah, some football happened. We probably should make some more predictions based on it.
Yeah, it certainly makes the week longer. Like you look at it and it's like, oh, this is going to break up the week really nicely. But we'll talk about it more in the Luton preview, which you can actually check out on our channel. Make sure if you're a Luton fan, even if you're not a Luton fan, we get loads of Sunderland fans, Preston fans, loads of fans from different clubs that watch our Luton content and commiserate with us. So
That's yeah, if you want to call it that, yeah, or just laugh. Feel free.
Yeah, just remember, subscribe to our channel. Let's kick this off with a team that's doing really well. One of the fellow teams that was relegated with us last season. It's Sheffield United versus Hull, the Friday night game.
How the turntables. Yeah, 2-0 Sheffield United is my quick response. Yeah, they beat Swansea not that convincingly, actually. I mean, if Darling had been sent off on the 50th minute, I wonder what would have happened in that game. But obviously, they took advantage of it and they took all 3 points. The Liberty, Hull, in the meantime, sort of a few false dawns and stuff. Celes is trying to pick up the pieces with Hull with seemingly 5 new players on a daily basis. Cool, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? And signing all the time. I think just the uncertainty with the what the squad is going to look like from game to game at the moment with Hull means that they're going to struggle against a very good Sheffield United team at home. So yeah, 2-0.
I saw a great stat, actually. By the way, I think Sheffield United 3, Hull 0. So I saw a great stat. Since the Hull owner came in, can't remember the number, but I saw the bottom line, which was they averaged 8 signings per window. That's mental.
It's mad. Yeah, I think I saw the same thing. The amount of signings since the new owner. It's crazy, isn't it? Just full. I mean, they needed it this summer, arguably, because they lost massive players, didn't they? I mean, both Philogene and Delap now actually at Ipswich, the same club, but we know Delap's doing phenomenal things in the Premier League. Philogene we know is a class player. Losing players like that mean you need to replace him, but just it feels very scattergun, as we've said before, and well, the proof's in the pudding in terms of where they are in the league.
Yeah, and sacking the manager as well. Like Rossignol should never have gone. Point outside the playoffs, never should have gone. They should have let him rebuild the team and sculpt Hull in their image. But on to Sheffield United. And to be honest, this 4-horse race for the 2 positions up top is very interesting. I'm going to do a video about the promotion chase because it really is fascinating. And honestly, these top 4, they're just going from strength to strength. And even when they don't have great performances, they grind out the results. They really do. I think this is going to be a horrible game for Hull. I think Sheffield United will be comfortable, but they'll put more beyond them than they normally do. So that's why I've gone 3-0.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, it's similar to last season in the Champ, right? When you had the 4 teams, obviously the Southampton who won in the playoffs against a very strong Leeds side who, for all money, you thought were going to go up at one point. It's going to be really interesting come the end of the season, whoever those teams are that end up in the playoffs and who comes out of it. But yeah, it's going to go to the wire, that's for sure.
It really will. Right, on to another one that could go to the wire. It's Luton Town versus Millwall, billed by Sky Sports as the biggest game in the Championship. That's why it's put on every year, twice a year, home and away. They're hoping for fireworks.
They've never got them. It's always a boring game. And look, in both teams' form, it's for me. It's got. I've gone 1-1 for this one. By the way, I get that. I get why you would argue for a Luton win. I also get why you would argue for a Millwall win. Both teams wildly out of form. up there or down there rather, with the lowest form teams in the division. Last time Luton were at home, they played out a 0-0 draw against Preston and thought that we were making strides with the defence, and then suddenly shipped 3 horrendous goals against Oxford a matter of days later. So who knows what we're going to get is kind of my point. Millwall are really struggling, but we're about 10 seconds away from winning that game against Cardiff. That sucker punch has got to hurt. So it's the impact of that. Both teams coming off a really gutting loss. Luton were ahead twice in the game against Oxford too. So both teams out of confidence on a losing or a poor streak rather. And that's why I can't really call it. Yeah, 1-1.
I've gone 2-0 Luton here. Hear me out. Hear me out. And this isn't just my bias. I am genuinely impressed by what Matt Bloomfield has done at Luton, because for those watching who aren't Luton fans, Luton Town was shambolic prior to Matt Bloomfield arriving. Absolutely shambolic. And he sorted out, I want to say he sorted out the defence, but then those goals against Oxford show from set pieces, there's still work to be done. But you know what? I hope he's given them a bollocking and those mistakes won't happen again. The midfield looks tidy. They can actually pass to each other for a change. Marvellous Nakamba's back to his best, in my opinion. Strikers, they got to fix the striker problem, because Elijah, Carlton, they both look like they don't look like footballers anymore. It's surreal. But meanwhile, Millwall, the games they've had, like no wins in their last 5, possibly longer, but I've only got the benefit of their last 5. Cov draw, Oxford loss, although Oxford are on a ridiculous run of form. Drew to Sheffield Wednesday, lost to Hull, drew to Cardiff courtesy of that very, very, very late equaliser. Alex Neil has a hell of a job on his hand. Like it feels like it's all gone Pete Tong since Neil Harris called the fans fickos. It feels like it's all gone wrong. It really has. And it's crazy because when Neil Harris left, I think Millwall were 50-1 to get relegated. I'm not really one for betting. But now, like, if Luton win this, they're only 2 points behind Millwall.
Oh, no doubt. Millwall are well in a relegation battle. Which, yeah, as you said, they were fighting, looking at top 6 at one point under Harris. It's incredible turnaround. But they were always, they were never prolific in front of goal. And so, one of those things goes and you start getting in trouble, as other teams have seen as well. I understand your point about Luton, and I agree with what you said. I just worry that the problems run so deep that it doesn't matter who's at the helm. They're going to struggle with the team that Luton put out. So we will see what version of Luton turn up. I think is probably going to be the key there.
I guess we'll see. We will. But which version of Norwich is going to turn up?
Yeah.
They're playing home to Swansea.
Yeah, I struggled with this one for that reason. I kind of went with the safe 2-1 Norwich win because they're at home. But, Swansea were unlucky, I think, to lose the game against Sheffield United. I'd say unlucky, of course. I mean, it's sending off. But I think that made a big difference in the game. Norwich away to Leeds, what can you expect? Away to Sheffield United, what can you expect? At home to Brighton in the Cup, what can you expect? The last game you thought they should get something from realistically was against Cov, and they did. So, I'm not saying we can just ignore the last 3 games, including the Cup game, but I don't know how much we can read into it. Meanwhile, Swansea got beaten 3-0 against Cardiff in the derby, followed that up with a 2-1 loss. So I think in terms of kind of form, they're both not doing great, but Norwich are at home, so that's the reason for it. Yeah, 2-1. I've
gone for a score draw here, 1-1. Norwich have been unlucky with their last 2 games. Sheffield United and Leeds United. Yeah. Very unlucky. But I'm not really sold on Johan Hofthorp. I don't think he's that great.
No. I don't think Norwich fans are either. Sorry.
No, but they were at the start of the season.
In
obviously
fits and
they started really well, yeah. Well, they didn't start well. Then they had that
No.
crazy run where they were just
Bad, good, bad.
clapping teams. Yeah, exactly.
It's the opposite of a shit sandwich, whatever that is.
I'm just trying to visualize that.
Don't visualize it. Sorry for that.
Yeah, Swansea. Yeah, they don't have that striker. If they can get a striker in the window, then I think they could be. I think Elijah Adebayo's available. If they get a striker, I think they could be making a late charge for the playoffs potentially, because they look so good in 2/3 of the pitch, and then the final thirds of the pitch, it's just Vipotnik, and he's not that great. So yeah, I've got 1-1 here. Because Norwich can score goals. Is Borja Sainz still banned?
I think so.
He had a long ban, didn't he?
It's a long ban, for spitting, wasn't it?
Disgusting.
Yeah, it's gross. I'm pretty sure he is. I think it was a quite lengthy ban. Obviously, Norwich fans or anyone, feel free to correct us on that. But yeah, it was a lengthy ban.
Yeah. Love to hear from you in the comments. Let us know. Right, on to Mark Robin, Stoke City versus Gary Rowett, Oxford United, who are in ridiculous form.
Yeah. And I've gone against the grain, and only really because I think form can end, and away from home, Oxford aren't the force they are at home. I think they can be got at, rather. I think Luton showed that how they can be got at. And actually, to be honest, in open play, they were kept to a minimum of chances. It was essentially some absolutely calamitous defending from set pieces that gave them essentially their 3 goals, or a lack of marking. Stoke, on the other hand, after some really encouraging results after Mark Robbins, got well and truly beaten by Pompey during the week, and not a result that I saw coming. Certainly not that convincingly. Pompey have started to turn a bit of a corner, but still 3-1, and good value for it as well.
Emphatic.
So yeah, it was. So it's difficult to call. I've gone Stoke 2-1, and it's probably because I love Mark Robbins. And maybe it's that, but they've obviously lost Tom Cannon now, and that's going to be a big deal for them. So we'll see. Manhoff's injured as well, so there's definitely some doubt in this prediction. But it's purely based on the Oxford run possibly coming to an end, Stoke being at home, and the Mark Robbins effect.
I've gone for an Oxford away win. I've gone 2-1 to Oxford. And this is an interesting one because Mark Robbins, no doubt, is a fantastic manager. He's had a good run. Like, when did he come in? He came in ahead of the Sunderland game. They won 1-0. No, that was Ryan Shawcross taking charge of that game. So they had a 0-0 against Burnley, which is very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Plymouth, not so impressive with a 0-0. West Brom 1-1, but West Brom draw with most people. And then that Pompey game. And I think Oxford United, when your tails are up, your tails are up. Like, yes, runs do come to an end, but I don't think it's going to come to an end in this game because Stoke are deep in it. 28 points. They are within grabbing distance from Luton and Hull right now. Either of those teams win, and Stoke go beneath them. And yes, they've lost Tom Cannon. They could be in danger of getting relegated. In all fairness, I think anyone, maybe I would have said Oxford down, but it's already starting to open up, isn't it? So I'd say anyone Millwall down is at risk of relegation right now. But the group that is at risk from relegation, it's getting smaller every game, isn't it? Just
always
like
the way.
another team just pulls away, get a little run together, and then it's a real toughie to watch, isn't it? But I'm backing Oxford here.
Yeah, it's a good job we're neutral, eh? We haven't got a horse in the game. But yeah.
Well, we have a horse in the relegation battle.
I know. Sure.
Everyone's tipping Luton to go down now.
Well, that was a surprise. Yeah.
True. Like a sensible man would have put a bet on months ago, but I won't go into that. Right, next up, Bristol City versus Blackburn Rovers.
Have you seen Blackburn's injury list?
It's pretty long.
Ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I'm still scrolling. I'm just having a look. This is unreal. I mean, and big players in there. Ohashi, still not back. Danny Barr, not back. Still out as well. Wharton's Scott Wharton's out. I mean, there's loads in there. Lewis Travis out.
Travis is a big one, isn't he?
There's I mean, so you can, and that you kind of think, well, that their recent results have got to have an impact from there. So obviously the loss against Oxford and Cov. So Bristol City are in pretty poor form themselves, to be honest. They're certainly not putting up trees. Their last win was a tight win against the Derby County side, who probably are the worst team in the division. It's between them and Luton at the moment in terms of form. So I can't call it for that reason, because Blackburn's injuries negate any kind of chance for me of them running away with this game. So 1-1.
I've also gone 1-1, mainly on the behest that Bristol City can't really score goals unless it's Scott Twine banging one in from 25 yards or Nahki Wells through on goal. Like, I love the fact that Nahki Wells is still playing. One of my colleagues, her fiance, actually played in the Barbados national team with Nahki Wells. It's so funny. He's just a random guy, but it just shows the depth of the talent pool in Barbados.
Yeah.
Like anyone, like they're searching ancestry.com to see if there's anyone.
It's a shame. Yeah, I'll have to check. I'm pretty sure not, though.
If you fancy your run out,
Oh, be nice, wouldn't
it? Yeah, with Nahki Wells still going stronger. God, he must be pushing 40. It's absolutely mad. But they don't score many.
No, I mean, he's always been a goal threat, always, in those positions.
So streaky.
but at that age, it's not surprising. He's been at Bristol City for a very long time as well, hasn't he? So as you say, neither team prolific at the moment.
No, and Blackburn riddled with injuries. So I've got 1-1, but they've still got those precious Premier League loanees. So I guess we'll see what happens. The transfer window is going to be an interesting one for Blackburn. It'll be interesting to see if they manage to get transfers in and actually not miss the cutoff this time, because that seems to happen every single season. It?
The Venki don't help themselves, do they, in terms of ridicule? I imagine there's quite a lot of money in the pot going towards their legal fees, though, right? So we will see. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Sorry, allegedly. Sorry. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Don't make Editor Kate come after you.
No,
she'll slap something up on the screen.
Feel free. Anyway, that was nowhere near as bad as your one a few weeks ago. It directed it. I'm pretty sure it was Stoke. But anyway, we won't bring that up again.
Right, on to I think this is a relegation 6-pointer. This one, it's Cardiff versus Derby County. I've gone 1-0 Cardiff here because they picked up a bit of form, haven't they? They
have.
They're hard to beat. Draw, win, draw. And that win, well, I guess it's away from the run of form, isn't it? Because that was against Swansea. But I think this one, it's going to be a tight one. I think for Derby County, especially now that... oh, God, who is it that's out for the season? Curtis Nelson's out for the season.
Curtis Nelson.
I think they're going to regret letting Sonny Bradley go out on loan. Like, Sonny Bradley might not be the fastest, but he still can do a job in a lesser team in the Championship.
He's already scored for Wycombe as well, I think.
He has. They love him.
Back to go. Yeah, they
love him at Wycombe.
He's quality at League One level. He's absolutely quality.
He can still do a job at Championship, especially.
Especially down
Curtis
there.
Nelson's done, man. He's done for the season, and they need defenders right now. They need everybody they can get. So I've gone Cardiff for this one.
I've gone 2-0, so same reasons really, but I think it might be slightly more convincing. I think Derby have really fallen off, and it was one of the predictions at the start of the season. I thought they would struggle, and it'll be interesting to see how Derby fans now react to the manager, because even before a ball was kicked in this season, even in pre-season, they were calling for him to go. So it'll be. I don't know. I haven't seen anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if the tide turns there pretty quickly. Even though I would say up until maybe the last 4 or 5 games, they've had a very successful season for where they were, particularly at home. But it's really dropped off.
Yeah, it's turned. From what I can see, 5 losses on the spin. Like, at least Luton broke that duck. They are most definitely in danger, because Hull and Luton just need to pick up one win and jump over them. There are a few in that little bracket there. Yeah, it's concerning for Derby County. I think Paul Warne, he's done a good job. Like, their recruitment in the summer wasn't the best. It really wasn't.
No, they've got a lot of players past their peak, haven't they? A lot of players that are establishing that level past their peak. And we talked about Sonny Bradley. He's not alone in there as well. I mean, James Collins. I know that Derby fans never
He's
really
gone
warmed to
now.
him. I know he's gone. Yeah,
Lincoln.
At Lincoln, but yeah, lots of those players that were kind of past their peak and were always going to struggle as well. It's always going to happen at a big club like Derby. The expectation is always to be doing better, particularly as they got themselves out of League One. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well, this one's an interesting one. So we've got Coventry versus Watford, and it's all happening at Watford. I'm holding fire on a reaction video to Tom Cleverley leaving.
Longest serving Watford manager
sacked
of all time.
In all fairness, he was there for quite a long time, wasn't he? I've gone 2-1 for this one. I think Watford are going to be in complete disarray, especially if the travelling fans are going to be protesting because they don't want Cleverley to go. Allegedly, this new bloke, Pacheta, or whatever his name is, from Spain, he signed new terms. It's a very unhappy camp. And I was listening to the Do Not Scratch Your Eyes pod earlier, and they were suggesting that Mogi Bayat's players have downed tools for Tom Cleverley, like the likes of Sissoko and whatnot, because they just don't want to play for Cleverley, which I think is a crazy one.
That is crazy. I mean, Watford fans have every right to be upset about this. Tom Cleverley has done wonders with them, considering where they were, and developed players like Quado Bar, for example, to the point where he is incredibly important. I know he's injured at the moment, which is obviously not helpful. Imran Louza, I never thought I'd see in a Watford shirt again. I thought he'd be gone. He looked like he was out the door. He's suddenly been integrated back into the team and playing well as well. So to do that in a disjointed team that is used to a run of different managers shouldn't be underestimated. Lots of people have tipped Watford for the drop this season.
They were one of the favourites for relegation.
Lots of people tipped them, and where they are now, pushing towards that top six. One bad result, it seems, away from Pozzo pulling the trigger is absolutely disgraceful, but not surprising considering his form.
It is very surprising. 1 point off the 1 point off the playoffs. Last 5, 2 losses, 1 draw. Well, 3 losses, 1 draw, and 1 win. But that happens, and I find every single team outside that top 4. The top 4 are just insane this season. Every team outside of that top 4 have been streaky. That's why the top 4 have run away with it. And the likes of Blackburn, West Brom, Watford. Wow, what are Bristol City doing in 9th? And QPR have managed to gain some ground as well.
Yeah.
That is why no one's run away with it. And the playoffs are still open.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's so streaky.
It is, yeah. I mean, I've gone for Cov 2-1 on this one because they said, despite my protestations against Lampard, which I will stand by forever, it is a hill I'm going to die on. That Lampard isn't that good, but they have been picking up results. So, yeah, and at home with things up in the air with Watford, I think it's going to Cov as well.
Look, you're not alone on that hill, and these aren't like ridiculous results. It's an injury-ravaged Blackburn Rovers and Bristol City, who, if you're a competent footballing side, you can pick up a result against them because they don't have much goal threat, as I said before. But they're still doing really well to be 9th. But it's so congested in that middle part of the table, so who knows? They probably will revert to the mean of 12th, because otherwise we all die in a fiery death as the sun hurtles towards the earth. So let's hope that does not happen and Bristol City finish 12th.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Right. Preston North End versus Middlesbrough. Is this one a derby? They're quite northern, the pair of them.
Oh my God, here we go. No, wrong sides of the country. Middlesbrough's in very North Yorkshire. Preston North End, North Lancashire. No, don't want to hear anything about it being thin up there. It's going to be hours away again. We've had this before. It's not a derby.
Preston North End fans in the comments, please let us know. Is this a derby?
You don't need to let us know. You don't need to.
I don't believe this isn't a derby.
Oh,
I've gone 1-1 for this one. I think Preston
Right.
are quite tough to play against. And Middlesbrough aren't. They're streaky, aren't they? They're in that pack that are quite streaky.
Yeah, tough to play against, tough to watch. Sorry, but yeah, you're right. I've gone for a Borough 1-0 win. I think it's going to be attritional, this one. I really do. But yeah, you could be right. I think it'd be a very tight game. Yeah,
Preston coming off the back of a very good win against Watford, which is crazy considering they didn't even look like they were laying a glove on Luton. Their XG was 0.01, and then they go beat Watford 2-1. Like, fair play to them. That was sensational from Plymouth. Preston. Both begins with P, and it's also...
It's not sensational from Plymouth, but we'll get there.
Yeah, wait your turn, Plymouth.
Quite the opposite.
Wait your turn, Plymouth. Nice easy game for Plymouth this week. So I've gone 1-1 for this one. I think Middlesbrough, they want to be in that top 4 pack, but they're just not consistent enough. They lose too much. They draw too much. They concede way too much. Right, onto a team. Yeah, exactly. It's now on to QPR versus Sheffield Wednesday. QPR with I think I saw an odd for them, which was essentially towards before their second win of the season. I think they were 1,000-1 to make the playoffs, and now they are 50-1 to make the playoffs. So what a turnaround!
Before a ball kick, did you say, or was no? Oh, okay.
Before their second win.
Yeah. That makes more sense. I was like, come on, that's ridiculous odds.
Yeah,
because I think everyone had predicted Marty Cifuentes to build on what he did at the end of last season, and he has eventually. Of course, it's taken a while. I've gone comfortable QPR 2-0 win. Sheffield Wednesday have been poor. They haven't lost loads. They've managed to scrape draws here and there. But they're struggling to find a way to win. And after some real positivity on the pitch, all the stuff off the pitch, the fan protests against Chansiri for the millionth time, and again, thoughts go out to Sheffield Wednesday fans. As Luton fans, we know what it's like. Unfortunately, a lot of fans in the Football League will be able to empathise with their situation because it happens far too often because of the failings of the EFL, essentially in the FA, to do vetting process. It's disgraceful, and it allows these absolute chancers like Chansiri in, and let's hope they get him out. Because the quicker that guy is out of football, the better for everybody. But in the meantime, I think they're going to struggle here. QPR are absolutely resurgent, aren't they? There's very few teams that I think will get a good result at Loftus Road, and it's not Sheffield Wednesday. 2-0.
Same scoreline over here. It is a real shame for Sheffield Wednesday because Danny Roll was doing such a tremendous job. But since that fan forum happened, it sort of bled over onto the pitch. And it hasn't been good. Like 3-0 to Leeds, although, it's Leeds.
Yeah.
And then the draw with Bristol City. I don't know if the draw with Millwall was before or after the forum, but obviously it's all been bubbling under the surface. Danny Roll, I don't know if Danny Roll wants to be there, but it's a job. I imagine if he's getting paid, happy days for him. It's very, very concerning. Fortunately, Sheffield Wednesday are safe, I'd imagine, from relegation because this can get brutal. It really can, especially if they don't pick up any signings in the window. But fortunately, Josh Windass is not going anywhere. Did you see that rumour that he was going to Corinthians?
I did. I saw it. Yeah.
Tremendous.
Unbelievable, isn't it? But yeah, he'll stay there. But unfortunately for Sheffield Wednesday, Josh Windass does not have the consistency to really be that focal point all the time for them. And I think I from Sheffield Wednesday fans that I've spoken to, he's a perpetual frustration to them. He's just not consistent.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Great finisher though. Yeah, when he's on it,
we know what he can do. 100%. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Right, shall we make some Sunderland fans happy here? So it's Sunderland versus Plymouth Argyle, and I've gone big. I've gone big here.
Yeah.
No, not that big. I've gone 3-0 Sunderland.
Yeah.
They got Meander, who's quality, but Isidore, I don't know if Isidore's quite at the races right now. Plymouth, they've got to sort of tighten up after that
just a bit
loss against Burnley, although I think it might have been disrupted by Morgan Whittaker not turning up.
I will come to that. We'll come to this.
I said, remember, for the Plymouth versus Burnley game, I said it was going to be 1-0 Plymouth, and Morgan Whittaker was going to run the show.
Yeah. Yeah. That's got to be up there with one of the worst predictions ever, really, isn't it? But yeah, didn't even make it. Didn't even turn up.
I didn't know he was not going to turn up.
He did. He was wearing a coat in the stands, but yeah, he didn't bother turning up in the dressing room. Clearly, look, I mean, you've gone big. I've gone big as well. I've gone 4-1. Maybe the goal's generous. It's going to be a massive loss. I do blame the manager a bit here as well. I mean, look, this happens time and time again. Players get tapped up by clubs in a window. Their headspace isn't right. Managers therefore drop them out of the squad. That's what happens. Whether clubs like it or not, whether Plymouth like it or not, Whittaker was always likely, if the bid was right, to go, because he's a player that should be in the Premier League or the top end of the Championship at the least. And I think, he's probably not dealt with it very well himself. But
didn't he do this at Swansea as well?
Yeah, well, exactly. But
he did the exact same thing.
Well, I'm not suggesting he's blame free at all. But I just find it a really odd thing to do. That just leave him out of the squad. Everyone knows. Everyone would have known it anyway, or you left him out of the squad by his choice. I just find it an odd one to come out with. He's done brilliant things for that club, and it's just a shame, I guess, that it's going to end that way. But yeah, it's going to be a hammering, you'd think. Although they beat him in the reverse, didn't they?
Yeah, and I called that one.
Yeah, you're not brave enough to go the double then.
No. I'm not betting against Sunderland now because I respect the Sunderland fans listening, and I don't like the abuse of the comments. I
think it's funny, by the way, Sunderland fans. So keep it coming.
I think I'm winning over the Sunderland fans. One of them actually commented saying, "Ollie, forget being a Luton fan. Get a Sunderland shirt." I'm not wearing a Sunderland shirt. Sorry, guys. I respect what you lot are doing on the pitch, but no, I'm not wearing a Sunderland shirt. Just not doing it. No. Right, on to Mowbray's West Brom versus a revitalised Pompey.
Yeah, I was really tempted to go for a Pompey win here, actually, but because it's at the Hawthorns and Mowbray. The Hawthorns, yeah, easy for me to say.
Boiler man! He'll be watching you.
Yeah, right. The best thing. I'm sorry, all right, you can take your Cyril Regis and your history and all your cups and everything, but the ideal boiler, right? No, I'm obviously kidding. But yeah, a West Brom at home is difficult to bet against, so I'm going for a 1-1 because I think Pompey are going to make life very, very difficult for them. They are resurgent, as you say. But yeah, I can't quite bet against West Brom at home.
I agitated over this one. It's really tough because Pompey, I think it's tremendous that they stayed with Mousinho. They obviously like Mousinho. I've still gone 1-0 West Brom. Hawthorns, Tony Mowbray's back. Josh Madge is out for a long period of time, but I still think West Brom, it's going to be a tight one, but I think West Brom are going to win this. That's just my feeling, my gut feeling on it. It's amazing that Mowbray's back. It really is. Sensational. I love that in football.
Yeah, no, it is great. It's fantastic. And, and it's amazing that he's come through, horrendous time, obviously, while he was at Birmingham. So yeah, great to see him at one of his old clubs as well. So yeah, fantastic.
It's wonderful. It is really wonderful. I hope he's still eating the Rebels. Right, on to the big one. Yeah. This is going to be absolutely massive. It's Burnley versus Leeds at Turf Moor.
Yeah.
How can you call this one? It's mad.
I've gone for the big bottle. I've gone for Burnley 2, Leeds 1. Leeds to take the lead as well. The big bottles is starting. What are they? 3 points away from each other in the league. I think Burnley are third, aren't they? And
yeah,
Leeds
Burnley are third on 56. Leeds are on 59.
3 points. So I think goal difference out of the question with Leeds at the moment. I think they're miles ahead, or at least like 7 or 8 goals ahead of everybody. But I think 2-1. Maybe they're buoyed from that absolute demolition job of Plymouth. I mean, seriously, who knows? It seems impossible for Leeds to lose a game, but they did lose a game, and it was against Burnley. So there's my justification. Burnley 2, Leeds 1.
Yep, I agree. I've gone 1-0 Burnley. I think Scott Parker is going to do
the double.
He's going to do it. He's going to do it. Like, look, Joe from the Turfcast, he's going to love this. I hope you're watching, Joe. Give me a thumbs up if you are. Honestly, Burnley, they're yet to concede a 10th goal this season.
Ridiculous.
We played 28 games and they've only conceded 9 goals. It's crazy. And they've scored 36. I mean, obviously helped by slamming 5 past Plymouth the other night. It's mad. It's mad. They've lost the fewest games in the league this season.
Yeah.
And Scott Parker's surprised me because I was expecting it to go completely differently. I thought they would like sort of limp into the playoffs. But they're smashing it.
Yeah.
They're so good. And the only reason they're not like in the top 2 is just by virtue of there being 3 other teams that are also smashing it. It's surreal right now.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible to see how well they are doing. I mean they did have some Scott Parker moments, haven't they? They've had the odd draw and the odd sort of tight win, which we would have expected at the start of the season. But yeah, I mean they've got an excellent squad. And before Leeds fans make comments, I'm only having a laugh because things are so absolutely abject for my team, as you know. So I get my kicks where I can, and there's not many of them. There we go.
Yeah, you got to have fun where you can. Right, let me trouble you for your lock of the week.
Yeah, I'm trying to mix it up a little bit, and I don't think I've chosen QPR yet. So I'm going to go QPR to beat Sheffield Wednesday at home. I can't see any other result at Loftus Road other than the QPR win.
Yeah, well, to be honest, it's quite sensible to back QPR. They're absolutely flying right now, and Sheffield Wednesday look a mess. I'll mix up as well. I'm going to go Cardiff City versus Derby 1-0. I think that's honestly it's such a big 6-pointer, and 3 points for Cardiff right now. It sort of bunny hops them above Millwall once Luton have beaten them. No, that's not. Disregard that. That's not a lock of the week. My lock of the week is Cardiff versus Derby. Forget everything I said about Luton beating Millwall because I don't want to jinx that. Don't want to jinx it. But right, as always, remember if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. Championship content. There's Luton Town content if you want to commiserate and let us cry on your shoulder. We're happy that you're here watching us. As always, whoever you support, have a great week, and let's look forward to these games. Take care, everyone.